Is we made a swear?
Of course.
Please,
I encourage it.
I come from
Also, burp in the mic if you need to.
Smooth as eggs.
From your bitch house. This is the industry special.
Welcome to episode 23. Yeah, 23 of the industry special podcast. I got two new people on. People you never seen or heard of. I probably talked about one of them. Actually, I probably talked about both of them. Yeah, I got a shot dedication to somebody. We're going to get into that. But before that, patreon.com/industry special if you want to give some money, because I need it. I'm trying to get fucking Spotify. I don't know if you guys know, but Spotify is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, I don't pay us enough here.
Fucking SoundCloud is like $17 a month, but Spotify is like $100 or like
and they used to be
a quarter
in this building,
Christ.
right?
I think they still are.
I thought they moved.
They must have moved recently.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, Spotify used to be here. They got so much money, they fucking moved on. So, yeah, Instagram, Industry Special, Twitter, Industry Special, Snapchat, Industry Special, everything's Industry Special. Industry Special Podcast at Gmail. All of that good noise. And so we're going to have a shot for Aaron. She gave us $10. Half of that went to Jew, since he was a government worker, wasn't getting paid. Shout out to him, too.
Cheers.
Cheers. You gotta take yours too. I got my cousin in here. He's playing cameraman. Take the shot, dog. Come on. All the way. Knock it down. Knock it down. Come on. Come on. Don't be no punk.
That's the same face I make when I drink.
His
Fernet.
face. How was it? Was it great? Oh, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, we're going to start this off by talking about the Edwardian Ball. We talked about it last week, but we got two more people on who both worked. And me and, actually, I didn't introduce him. This is Devon. He also works with me. He's a barback. He's been here longer than I have. So he knows all about this Edwardian shit. And over here, we have a newer co-worker. We have Veronica. I'll call her Vultron. She is also a / barback. She's a hybrid. She's like she's like Bo Jackson, you know.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
The first thing I think of.
Yeah, baseball and football.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a Bo Jackson on here.
All right.
So yeah, they both work here. If you guys want to say anything. What up? No, nothing. Not even hi.
Guys.
It's been a long time. Been talking about doing this for like a year.
I
so
know, for hell long.
It's great to.
We did it.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so yeah, Edwardian Ball. We're going to talk about that. We all three worked that. This is my third Edwardian Ball. How many Edwardian Balls for you now?
5?
Damn.
4 or 5? 5? I don't
And
know.
you've actually attended
They.
an Edwardian Ball.
Oh, and then
outside of work.
I went to. Well, okay. I think I've worked 4 or 5, but then maybe like 9 years ago, I went to one at the Regency. It's the first time I actually ever went to the Regency because I had a free ticket. And funny enough, I went there and I thought it was really lame. And the drinks were too expensive, so I went to the 101 Club and spent the whole time there.
There you go.
So there's that.
I've never heard anybody say our drinks are too expensive. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know it is ridiculous. They're not too expensive. I mean, you know, they're not too expensive.
$12
10
beer
years
is totally
from now.
reasonable.
Modestly priced.
But then I actually went to an Edwardian Ball in 1995 or 1995 in Portland, and it was obviously not the same thing as this, but it was the same idea. So it's interesting to see how it changed. Essentially, in 1995, it was a goth club with a Edward Gorey theme, and that was this idea in Portland because there's lots of goths in Portland.
So before we get into the history, I have a question. When you went to these Edwardian balls, did you dress up like how they do now?
No.
You went as regular old you, huh?
I mean, I don't own that stuff, so no.
I mean, I didn't see many other people who just came regular. They all seem to have the little get up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we can get into that. I think there's a whole culture around it.
Well, go ahead. Let's go. Let's
All
go.
right.
Let's
Well,
go.
okay. I mean, so it's interesting. It's gotten kind of. So I believe it really starts with Edward Gorey. Edward Gorey was I think he's American, children's book writer from the 1960s. That was an illustrator, and he was well known as writing these.
Is that the scary stories you tell in the dark?
I believe,
Books?
yeah. Well, they're
With a real spooky illustration.
I was just thinking
Yeah.
something. I'm like, let me look up this stuff.
I know exactly who you're talking about now.
I
So,
looked
like,
up
his
the
books are,
history,
like,
but I didn't.
A is for Alice that like hung herself and B, so he has all these macabre.
The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle in your stout. Like that shit. That's, and I don't remember what it's called, but that's an Edward Gorey
And-
poem, I think.
Well, I think that's an old poem, but yeah, very possibly he put that into a book. He placed all of it within this sort of late Victorian era. So it's very similar to like earlier works from the late 1700s and early 1800s that were these sort of morality tales for children to not do bad. So it's like,
Oh, the Vinegar Works, 3 volumes of moral instruction,
yeah. So it's
1963.
it's being sarcastic. He is commenting on works that were in the 19th century that were literally about children dying if they don't follow the rules. It's this kind of Victorian thing. And
Sounds like church.
So he made these books that were really liked and so especially a lot of goths because it's a bunch of like children dying in this funny way.
The Gashly Crumb Tinnies. There's a picture of it, and that shit looks fucking interesting. Oh, great.
So Edward Gorey's great. I really am. I'm a fan. He's great. He was also
This isn't at all what I was thinking it was.
he was an illustrator for a lot of paperbacks in the 60s too. I have a couple
It
editions.
says that he illustrated works as diverse as Bram Stoker's Dracula, H.G.L.'s The War of the Worlds, and T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats.
I also have a cover of Lermontov's A Hero of Our Time, which is a famous Russian book from the early 1800s that he did a cover of. So anyway, Edward Gorey's great. He's a really fascinating guy. So it gets a little confused though, because the Edwardian Ball then also gets confused with the Edwardian era, which is similar to this Victorian era. It's right after the Victorian era in England. So then people start thinking it's the Edwardian era, but it mainly really got it came together with this kind of Burning Man aesthetic as well. So you have like the steampunk idea from
Which I like the steampunk shit. I'm really a fan of that type of shit.
right, and that actually comes from the 60s as well. It's a literary genre that came together with Burning Man. I think that seems to be the case, and so you have this mixture of like early goth kids liking Edward Gorey that's mixing with these modern sort of goth hybrid Burning Man post hippie sort of folk that or also part of it is also techie culture has become a big thing.
It's like a mixture between like pirate aesthetic and this like steampunk Edwardian era aesthetic.
It's very Burning Man.
Oh yeah.
And so that's what's interesting to me about it. Anyway, I don't know if you have more questions, but I do have things to say about it.
Go ahead. Keep talking. Yeah. I wanted to get into the history of it, and I know you know history way
Yeah.
more than I know history.
Well, okay, so here's my issue with it. And it's my same issue with Burning Man. Interestingly enough, I've always been a critic of Burning Man, but I have actually worked it, and I dated 2 girls back to back who had the same name that were both people that were involved in that scene.
That's what I'm talking about.
And So I ended up spending years sort of in that world, and interestingly enough, I know a lot of people. When I go to the Edwardian Ball, I see a lot of old.
Yeah,
friends.
you were saying like, oh yeah, I want to work the lodge because I know some people up there. And I was like, hey, do it.
But they're unbelievably brilliant people, and they do these really brilliant and beautiful things, like really projects on a scale that I don't tend to see much in within my, like, I come from like a punk anarchy. Is it good to swear?
Of course.
Yeah, all right.
Please, I encourage it.
I come from
Also, burp in the mic if you need to.
I come from like a punk anarchist world, and there's a certain like do-it-yourself DIY kind of cheap or just like make shit out of garbage kind of thing, and these folks have mastered just they do huge things and huge projects, but part of that comes with funding, and so part of the funding then has come from the tech industry. And the tech industry is something I find to be very, very destructive in the Bay Area, and also just in the post sort of capitalist, like, fucking mindscape of America. It's a big problem.
Cancerous society.
Absolutely. And so I went to Burning Man twice. I worked it 1 year, and I went there for like 2 days another year when I was dating these really brilliant women. And one of the things about the people I know from this Burning Man culture is that they are also huge critics of it, but it's like they grew up in it, so it's like, I don't know, it's hard to say. But the main thing about Burning Man and also the Edwardian Ball, the question I have is why? What's the point? You have really, really rich people dressing up to do this thing and
So way to
make
like
these
flaunt
beautiful
wealth.
things.
I feel like flaunt wealth and privilege in a sense, like to just, I don't know.
I think that's exactly what it is, and because they're also heroizing this era of colonial Europe that is one of the
It
most
was like dark and
destructive.
racist and fucked up.
God, just full of genocide and horror. The fact that they make it steampunk and make it outside of reality makes it like not real. But I'm a historian. It's fucking real. You know? So to me, I just see like just like oppression and horror there. And I also see it's just a big party for rich white people to have a fucking, and you know, and they're probably going to be like, hey, whatever, why be so fucking uptight about it? Because it's just a party. But I don't know. I don't feel like
Celebrating a time when like white Europeans ruled the world and like ignoring all the dark history that goes behind it in a sense.
But also they're not even celebrating history. They're celebrating a future history of some sort. Like if you go to Burning Man, they talk about it as this alternate reality. They say like, welcome home. It's a bit like the old deadheads here at the Warfield, you know, some sort of like alternate reality where you can go and escape from life. Yet, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's a frustrating thing to me because there's a lot of really brilliant and beautiful, huge, monumental pieces of art and a lot of creativity, and I just feel like it's just done for a big party.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that when you were mentioning it, like, you know, how it started and like, you know, all this, and all I ever thought about it is one big fucking rich, eyes wide shut ass, like just like a big elitist gathering, right? Because like a couple times I've seen people where I'm like, oh shit, like I know this person, right? And I'm like
Elon Musk might be there. Or some
that's what I'm
shit.
like. Somebody who's like, fuck, like I know this person. Nobody else might know this person, but this motherfucker got money, and they're in here and like, you know, just fucking elbows to elbows with other people with hella money. But you're making it seem like it started off completely against all that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
but now it's just turned into a big rich party.
yeah.
I've been to a party like that before too, because my girlfriend works in the tech side of kink.com, and I went to some weird science party with her that was just a similar thing. It was just a bunch of rich techies fucking with this giant Tesla coil flaunting wealth and showing like, oh, we can just throw a party around this thing that probably costs a ridiculous amount of money. I don't know. That's just kind of like the mindset with people like that, I think, is they just like want to party in the most flashy ways possible and flaunt that creativity, but it's also flaunting like the money that goes behind it, because like, you know, normal people don't have the money to make these crazy elaborate costumes,
and they also don't have money to rent out the whole Regency ballroom for a weekend. Even if there's nothing going on there,
isn't the owner of the
it's a lot
Regency
of
like
money.
super into this shit too? Because he
I wouldn't know.
got
Devin,
real
you got
dressed
anything?
up.
I don't know who owns the Regency.
Well, isn't
know.
it who's that one dude that's in charge of that was explaining the cocktails and shit to us?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's in our company. He does anything.
But he's a
Oh,
fan.
this whole
He's a
time I thought
fan.
he was like one of the owners of the Warfield and Regency.
no, he just talks a lot of shit.
Yeah.
He's full of shit as well.
When
Yeah,
he-
seeing that
he
guy in
looks-
those tights was really traumatic for me as a woman.
The cane killed it for me. The fucking cane, and it had like a cobra's like neck on there. I was like, not this fucking guy again.
There's also like classically, it's like middle-aged men hoping to sleep with younger women.
Oh, for sure. That seems like that whole scene in general.
Absolutely.
A lot of creepers.
It's pretty fucking creepy and weird. So now you've gotten both takes on this. Actually, before we leave there, this is your first one. How'd you feel about?
I mean, I worked it at the Cat Club once before.
You didn't work this though.
But no, yeah, it was definitely different. It was like on a much bigger scale, a lot more hoity-toity than the version at Cat Club. The version at Cat Club was more so like for the goths, I feel like. And this, I don't know, it was just a lot of fucking really pretentious people, like very, like they were nice, and then a lot of them tipped well for the most part, but there was also just like some of the attitudes of the people was just too much.
Yeah.
Like this girl's like, oh, you don't have wine? Oh, they already sent me around 3 other bars. Just give me a cup of ice. I'm overheating. Like it was really diva-esque.
Go to the 101 Club, man.
Seriously, get all the wine you want.
And it was just annoying too
$3.
because
$4 wine.
the manager, like on like a working it aspect, to work a bar that had no booze except for absinthe and wine and these stupid fucking cocktails, like really screwed us over on money. And the manager was like, oh yeah, I'm putting you in
Yellow.
here for like aesthetic reasons.
Yellow.
Like this is going to be a high volume bar. I'm like, a high volume bar and you're not giving us any
Aesthetic
alcohol?
reasons?
Yeah, straight up like said
Sounds like
some
creep
shit like
what,
that.
what fucking century is this?
Exactly. No, dude, this industry is so
Creep
misogynistic at the end of the day. Like, yes, sometimes you get special treatment as a woman, but sometimes you're just placed at a certain bar because of the way that you look.
That's bullshit, man.
It is. It really is. But yeah, it was a fun event to work, but it sucked. Like having such a limited bar, it made it like hard to make more money. And if you were expecting a bar to be high volume because it's right next to the photo booth, like wouldn't you give people more options for alcohol so they're not leaving and going to another bar or getting pissed off because like they can only order absinthe or some like shitty pre-made cocktail that takes no effort?
You guys had mixed cocktails in the Blue Room?
Yeah, that's all we had. We just had the mixed cocktails,
And absinthe.
absinthe, and wine, but we ran out of wine the first like 30 minutes of the event. I'm like, if you're gonna like have a sponsored wine thing, wouldn't you like have enough of it to get through 2 days of
We
an event?
never have enough of it, right? Every year. Very limited on the vino.
Well, but yeah, no, it was an interesting event. I thought the one at Cat Club was cooler because you could actually see everything that happened. The like circus performances were like kind of neater.
Yeah,
We used to have that.
It was kind of a boring.
It was dulled
year.
the fuck down.
Because man, there really are some outrageous things that have been there. Dex, do you remember the woman in the big dress?
Yeah, that
I
was 2 years in a
ask
row.
you guys about that one.
And it had 2 little people opening the door up, and it was one of our bartenders in there. And I think they were just pouring pre-made drinks.
Gin. It was like these gin drinks. Yeah,
Yeah.
just one drink.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you walk
so
in there, and they're like, open the door for you. Come on in, sir.
That's
like-
pretty funny.
There's a
walk in
woman
there.
standing on a thing.
Yeah.
With a huge bustle.
And you go
then
in
you
her
go under
dress
her dress
and get
for
your
this
drink
bar.
on.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And that woman was up there for
All
every
night
night
long,
for
yeah.
hours, and
She probably had a colostomy bag, you know. I mean, because that's crueler than us working all night long.
Also, just being in character for that long.
Yeah.
Fuck
I
that.
feel like these
In
people
character,
live for
no
it, though,
break.
dude.
She
Like,
probably got water, but she couldn't leave.
I hope.
What's she gonna do? Let me climb
I
down.
hope she's
real
part
quick?
of a union. There's like a union of people
Edwardian
that have
union.
huge dread. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing as the people that work at the, like, what is it, the old colonial reenactment things and all that shit.
Oh no! They got all the benefits over there. Trump is making sure of it.
Oh, for
Speaking
sure.
of, you guys want to talk about the wall?
Oh, God, what now?
I mean,
Sure.
what's the newest thing that he tried to shut down the government?
Well, he
to pay
did
for
shut
it.
down the government.
Yeah, shut the government down. Try to pay for it. Then he's like, "Oh, I guess that's not going to happen."
I thought he was
And-
such a great businessman. Where's his negotiation skills?
He got that money. He didn't build that money.
I mean,
ridiculous.
it's been, obviously it's been talked about a lot. To me, the wall has always been the symbol. It's not a real thing. It's like he's never really talked about it as a real
all it
thing, So, it's a symbol that anti-immigration, nativist, racists, a lot of white America is freaked out about this demographic change of them losing their power over the last fucking 200 years and 200 plus years. And this idea of the wall is purely this symbol. And so it's like, I was thinking about this. Really, it's true. What fucking country builds a wall on their border?
Germany, and they made
Yeah,
them now.
isn't there a couple
Well,
countries
yes,
that
they-
did?
yes, you have-
Supposedly
yeah,
made a
Korea
border, right?
has
Yes.
the border.
You have, well, yeah,
Those are also two countries that just split.
yeah. I mean, you have the Great Wall of China. Yeah, you have the wall, the Warsaw, in Germany, which was between the two powers after World War II. You do have you have a lot of walls in Israel, Palestine.
Yeah.
And none of these are real shining examples of anything that works or is a good idea. And it's just this remarkable. Anyway, it's the way that things are going, though. I think, unfortunately, to get.
There's like that GoFundMe for it too. You guys see
Oh yeah,
that shit?
and they gave everybody their money back.
Oh, thank God.
Like, get the fuck out of here. We can't have. No, you can't fund something that's not going to happen, for one, and is not even sanctioned to be allowed to happen. It's just a thought.
And there's always that old tired ass argument from the other side too. I was actually arguing with my friends back in Reno because they're not huge Trump supporters, but they think, maybe it'd be a good idea. And they're always just like, well, would you leave your door unlocked and open for anybody to walk into your house? Like, that's always the argument to it. I'm like, do you have anything other than that for this?
So we had a guy on the podcast after Larry. He kind of frequents this place a little bit. Some people may know him. I don't want to put him on blast. But after having him on the podcast, he was talking to me. He walks up because he just kind of hangs around this place. And so he comes up and talks to me every once in a while I'm working. I'm kind of like, I'll talk to him even though I'm like trying to work. And he was talking to me. He said, "Oh, Mace, I'm having a horrible day." And I was like, "Oh, it's that damn Trump again, huh?" And he was like, "Well, Trump's not that bad." And I was like... I had you on my fucking podcast and you're talking about Trump not being that bad. And so he starts talking about immigrants and this and that. He's like, you don't want them coming and taking your job, do you? And I was like, well, how the fuck you don't know I'm an immigrant, for one? And two, if somebody's going to come and take my job, it means I'm probably not doing as good as I should be, or I didn't get another fucking job.
Yeah.
That's just life. You're not going to have the same job forever. Like, shit happens. I'm not worried about somebody else outside of this country coming and taking my job. I'm worried about your ass taking my job, and you're already here. Like, I'm not worried about that type of shit, right? And so he just kind of like, oh, sorry, he backed off and shit. I'm like, well, no, what the fuck? Like, no, I'm not worried about that. No, let anybody come in this motherfucker. If they come here and fucking break a law, so we have the law for. Not trying to keep people out of here. People have been coming in here for fucking 600 goddamn years. I'm not going to stop
Yes,
them
how
now.
do you think your family probably got here? Like, my
Everybody,
dad's side of the
especially
family,
California.
my
Yeah, that's what I'm
Italian
saying.
side
Like,
of the family
dude,
immigrated
you're in Mexico
here. Like,
right now. Yeah, he pissed me off.
Yeah.
But that just tells you, like, he's been living here most of his adult life, and he still is thinking that shit.
Well, it's that old school mentality. A lot of people think that way, and especially when you get like outside of big cities, it's scary how many people think that way because they don't. It's not that they don't know any other way to think; they're just surrounded by people that are just as ignorant as they are, and nobody's trying to grow or learn. That's why when I go home and I like have conversations with people that I grew up with, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like. You're stuck in like years ago. Wow, I'm too high. I can't even talk.
I've been waiting for the fire that up again. You're not going to fire that up no more?
maybe a little while. But they're just stuck in this like old school mentality.
He wants some weed. That's why I was saying that. Look at him. Look at him over there.
You smoke? I tried to pass it to you. You didn't want it.
You didn't try to smoke? Cut them dreads off then. Rasta man. All right. Well, since we're talking about that, let's talk about you some more.
Oh shit.
Where are you from?
I'm from the trailer park. Biggest trailer park in America. Not anymore.
Literally? Or
It was at one point in the world record books. Sun Valley, Nevada is the biggest trailer park in Nevada.
Sun Valley, Nevada.
And it was definitely a big ass trailer park when I was growing up. Now they got some houses, so it's nicer. Yeah, it was a weird place to grow up though. Like 90% of the population's on methamphetamine or cooking methamphetamine.
90.
That's maybe a rough estimate, but I feel like it's pretty accurate.
I'm going with you. Hey.
Like most people like had broken down cars in front of their house. Like your aunties living
Was it
in
like
the trailer
Park
in the
Boys,
back.
like the TV show?
So I never actually watched that show.
That shit's hella fun.
But hella people in Sun Valley did watch that show. Yeah, it was
Probably
a weird
reason.
place to grow up, and it was even weirder because at the time when I was a kid, and they tried to make it so the Sun Valley kids would have a chance, right? So they'd send them all to the nice neighborhood to go to school, which really just fucked shit up even more because, you know, it's poor kids get targeted no matter where you go. It's a bad idea. Yeah, I was a shithead kid doing a lot of bad stuff.
And so how long have you been out here in the Bay Area?
Going on 8 years now. It's been a while. I came out here when I was 19.
All right. Is there a specific reason why you came out here?
I was dating this dude at the time that lived out here. He was kind of, I guess, a high school sweetheart. Like, I met him at this coffee shop that I used to do open mic at. And then he moved out here, and we started dating when he moved out here, and I ended up moving out here to be with him. We were together for like 4 years. He sucks a lot.
Damn. Question about that. So how often living in Nevada did you come out here? Because we're not that
I would
far.
come out here like once a month, if not more. I came out here a lot. The first time I came out to San Francisco, other than being a kid and going to the zoo or whatever, was to go to Pride when I was hanging out with this group of girls that I was really good friends with, that I'd have our little crew tattooed on my knuckles.
What's it say?
Billy Girls. It means because I love you, girl. It was just basically a bunch of just drunk bitches.
All right, that's
Yeah.
cool.
No, it was like a party crew thing. But yeah, we came out here to go to Pride, and I just like fell in love with the city, and you know, there's not really like a whole lot of opportunity for like a high school dropout with a criminal record in Reno, Nevada. And out here you can kind of make a name for yourself and find a spot if you just have a good hustle and you have a good mouthpiece, I guess. Like,
Oh, we got game over here, huh?
I mean, fuck, dude. Like, you got to be able to like hype yourself up and talk to get a job out here. I feel like
Not here.
Well, not at the Warfield. Yeah, I literally, dude, to get the job here, Princess like gave Eddie or told Eddie that I was gonna apply, and she's like, "Yeah, just call this number after you send your resume." And I just call, and Eddie's like, "Oh, who's this? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll send you some shifts."
Wait, you answered?
Yeah, like
Remarkable.
literally, I said like
He
2
never
words to
answers
him,
us.
and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're Princess." Okay, cool. I'm just gonna send you some shifts. I'm like, oh, I don't need to do like an interview. Do you want to see my ID? Make sure I'm like 21. Nothing. Oh, okay. I don't think they checked my ID for the first like 2 months that I worked
I didn't
here.
get paid for 2 months when I first started here, so I doubt anybody looked at anything.
I was on their ass, dude. Everyone told me like, you know, make sure you get paid. Make sure you get paid. So every day I'm like, okay, I need to get paid. It's my only job.
Best bounce checks, BBC.
Wait, bounce checks?
Best bounce checks. That's written on the wall in the hell fridge.
It's basically bounce checks.
Basically bounce checks.
Yeah,
That's
that's what our company
hilarious.
stands for. Not big black cocks, but basically bounce checks. All right.
Yeah.
So that's Nevada for us.
Yeah, it sucks.
So we're gonna get into Devon. So not only are you a barback, but you also do other things on the side. What do you do? I know you're into
I've been-
music and literature and all these good things.
Yeah, I mean, I have been a musician, and
Don't be modest. Come on.
I've
Spread your
I don't know.
wings.
Well, I don't know. I've played in bands that would attract 20 people in San Francisco or the Bay Area, but ended up getting a little bit of a following in Europe, so I got to do some tours, and that's always been fun. But mainly, I've been trying to be a writer. I'm a historian. I went to grad school for a bit at SF State, although dropped out right before I got my degree because it was going to cost me a bunch of money to get the degree, and I realized that I actually realized that I don't even have a college diploma because I went straight into grad school. So I'm not actually technically even have any sort of degree. Anyway,
So would they have allowed you to get
so who
the
cares?
graduate?
Well, I don't know. It just doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'd have to spend like a few $100s to get it, and I just at this moment
fuck
don't
it.
see
Yeah.
I don't think so far the Warfield has been asking about my college degree yet.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, probably not.
But
The new management, you never know. They might start digging into everybody's history.
Well, it's possible. Just gonna be up on a binger. Late night on fucking what's that website where you can creep on people's lives?
Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah, actually, fucking one of the barbacks found him on Facebook, and we were like all looking at his pictures, like, what the fuck?
what?
Yellow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yellow.
Anyway, but yeah, so I started working here because one of my best friends, someone who I consider a brother, was working here, and he came out of a similar sort of punk anarchist scene as me. We met in Philadelphia fucking years ago. He was 18.
Is that where you're
And-
from?
No, I'm from here. Well, I'm from Santa. Oh, I was born in Colorado, but I grew up in Santa Cruz. My dad lived here, and so I lived on the East Coast for a long time because when you want to leave where you're from often. But then this guy Boche brought me back out of a bad situation, living on a farm up in the Catskill Mountains, and
New York?
Yeah,
Oh.
and
That wasn't great?
it was a bad relationship.
Ah.
And we were actually competitive over this relationship when I first met him, and then interestingly enough, he's the one that drew me out of it and brought me back here. This was in 2003, so it's quite a long time ago. But and then Boche got a job here from our like punk connections in San Francisco. And it was a good job, and he was living with me at the time, and he was making so much money. He had this like drawer full of cash
I remember those good days.
back in the day. And
I used to have multiple shoe boxes full of money.
yeah, man.
The good days.
Also, we got all of the
I remember
credit card
those.
tips
Yeah, I used to
in
hear-
cash.
I used to hear about that. You
So
guys
it
are
was
probably
just-
walking out with like 500 a night.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, old Boche, and yeah, he got me this job, and I sort of supplanted him, I guess, for a bit of time, and he actually tried to come back, and Bruce and Eddie were like, "Nah."
Yeah, I remember
no.
that. He popped up for like 2 days. I had never seen him before. You had told me about him all the time, and I saw him. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, and everybody was like, yeah, I don't think so.
It's funny. He's a really good barback, but he ended up being a little. I don't know. I actually don't want to talk about Boche.
Yeah, that's not.
But anyway, that's how I ended up with this job, and but it's ironic. So it's like I'm a San Francisco historian, especially a social historian, and especially within this era between like 1890 and 1920, And this happens to be really rich with the Warfield and the Regency are both buildings from this era. So, for example, one of the things, remember, like, we used to do load-ins and I'd go to the library.
Yeah.
So it's like what I'd do at the library is I was trying to go every day through this newspaper, the San Francisco Bulletin, part of my research. And what I found a bunch was the Regency.
Damn.
1916. 19 The Regency was always doing stuff. Concerts. It's the same fucking thing. You know, there's this elevator at the Regency is from that era. So when we were,
Yeah.
you know, we're fucking riding this shit with the ice and or fighting over who's gonna whatever part of the building has to use it.
Same shit was happening 100 years ago.
Well, except for the same mechanics.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a hand cranked thing. I think it's the oldest working
It is.
elevator in the Western United States.
Wasn't the Regency like the first building built after the earthquakes or
Yes.
something? I think you told me that.
It was this Masonic hall, but it was also a place where there was huge rallies for political campaigns and whatnot. But okay, so this really cool advertisement, and I'll get it to you. You can put it on the website or whatever. But it's the Scottish tenor who was singing alongside a phonograph, you know, an old record player of himself. So this is early multi-tracking.
Yeah.
And this is 1916, and this is advertised. He's singing at the Regency. He's singing, harmonizing over himself over a phonograph. And this is before amplification. So
Yeah.
think about that. I mean, that's
So
all.
he was Oliver Arnold's way before.
Did
Probably
you
shut
see
the fuck up,
the
'cause-
DJ at the Edwardian Ball that had the phonograph on top of his old DJ setup, so it looked like he
didn't
was
see
playing
it.
music out of that?
I didn't see that one.
But that's perfect because they're drawing to that era, but none of those guys are. I mean, I'm an asshole about history, so I'm just
It's okay.
constantly
You
being
can be
like,
good.
to those guys, I'm like, oh come on. I mean, whatever. We already talked about that, but yeah, exactly. They're actually drawing from what was going on. It's just remarkable that all these concerts are going on at the Regency, and they still are, and that there's this continuity. Yet,
I wonder if that was like a nod to that show at the Regency, or if that guy probably was just purely
No,
doing it for
probably
show and
just
shit.
Coincidence.
You would need to have gone through every day of the newspaper 1916, I think, to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, but
No, go ahead.
No, there just isn't much of. There isn't a lot of knowledge from that. There is a Masonic Historical Society. So I'm actually going to do a talk in early March at the Old Mint for something called San Francisco History Days, about my book that I wrote.
Is this open to the public?
It's free, yes.
You hear that? When is it?
March, I have to look it up. March 3rd and 4th, I believe. I have to look it up.
At the San Francisco Mint.
At the Old Mint, which is 5th and between Market and Mission. San Francisco Days, SF History Days. It's really
That's where the mint between 5th and 6th.
On 5th Street between Market and Mission.
Really?
That huge ass building. Yeah, it's 5th, right? Yeah,
Right down the street.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought when I'm thinking the mint, I'm thinking the one over there by.
No, this is the Old Mint.
Yeah, I was thinking up by the Safeway or
Yeah.
whatever. That's what I was thinking.
that's
of.
the
The
new mint.
current Mint.
I thought that was the old mint. They still make money there.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
No, man. Oh, you walk down 5th Street. The Old Mint is the only building that survived the earthquake, other than the Chronicle building, 1906 earthquake and fires. It's an unbelievable building, and it hasn't been open to the public, and you can't generally go in other than.
Well, if I'm
during
not working
this
there, I'm
weekend.
fucking going. So I can
Okay.
get you can give me a tour of that shit. Let's go 30 minutes early.
Well,
That's
and
interesting.
these Masonic historians will be there, and they used to own the Regency, and so they know all the history, like
Yeah.
that fucking trap door,
Yeah.
all that shit.
Trapdoor.
And the lodge has a trap door
There's a trap door.
I've never
for
even been in the
hanging.
lodge.
in the ceiling.
They fucking it's where
That's
it's a
what someone had told me
gallows.
some like crazy shit about.
I didn't believe it
Regency
until
like that.
they showed me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they actually put a carpet over it because
Like,
it's creepy as
where
shit.
where the lodge is, right?
Sure.
There's another floor up there, above that,
Oh, we're going up there next time.
and there might be another floor above that where the probably is where the elevator just doesn't go to.
And
There's
I-
probably something.
I
above
believe that they hung effigies.
there. Yeah.
I don't think
I doubt they
people.
hung real people because who the
But
fuck's going to be? I mean,
Old San Francisco hung people all the time.
I doubt they hung
Vigilantes
them.
hung people.
I doubt they hung them in the fucking inside though, right? In some fancy ass building.
1856, they hung him outside the building, right across the street from the Embarcadero Theater. If you go to that, ever go into that?
1896, they used to hang people.
1856.
56,
There's a
okay.
Walgreens
That's
right
a
there.
40-year
Used to be a
difference.
building, famous hanging that happened where they just fucking put a plank out.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
So that shit certainly happened,
Fuck.
and you can learn all about it.
So,
History days.
do you know anything about the history of like all the old graveyards and shit, and how being uprooted and
Yeah. Well, they just
everything got moved to like what, Colma?
Yeah, to Colma.
I
they just dug up everybody and moved them to Colma?
Yeah, like
shit.
Dolores Park.
Yeah.
Was a graveyard. There's graveyards all over.
Isn't there's still a graveyard somewhere, like a military graveyard?
Well, Presidio.
In Presidio, there we go. That's right.
Presidio was federal land until what, the 90s, I believe.
Damn.
So that's always been really separate.
That's
I mean,
fucking wild.
I heard the cobblestones out at that beach out at Fisherman's Wharf is all made of old tombstones. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know that.
Creepy.
I'm not sure about that.
That's fucking crazy. So they just
Sunbathing
dug
on
up everybody
somebody's
from
grandma.
everywhere so that they could get rid of the space.
And why? Yeah, fucking real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Sound familiar?
Got rid of the dead. Now they're getting rid of the living.
Same with
Shit.
what's happening here. Like,
No, they're turning the living into the Walking Dead with fucking
That's the
the
tenderloin.
drug epidemic.
So also, before we go into anything else, I know you know a lot about the tenderloin. A lot more than probably most people who even live or walk around the tenderloin. And the tenderloin is interesting. People who aren't from here, just in case, there's a few people who listen who aren't from here. The tenderloin is like the most like
The Skid Row of fucking
it's a
San
skid row,
Francisco.
but it's like not a row. It's like a fucking.
it's a neighborhood.
It's about what, a third, not a third, but probably a fifth of the city,
Downtown?
maybe.
Or yeah,
I mean, it's a pretty big area.
It's a big
It's
area.
from here to like fucking once you get up on the hill before like Knob Hill before you're like going down into like Marina and shit, right? And it's gotten a lot better, but it's like just drug use and robberies and park your car there. If you have a fucking like this is where Dave Chappelle had a whole comedy skit when he did Out Here, and he said the tenderloin. And he was like, I stumbled in that tenderloin. There's nothing tender about that. And he was saying left a candy bar in his car and somebody broke in. And he said he went to a Starbucks on the
Sounds about
corner
right.
and he had never saw crack smoked so casually. They were sitting on the corner at Starbucks smoking crack and talking politics. And everything about that could happen. This is not a joke. Like, it's a joke, it's funny, but this happens. I have uncles who smoke crack and drink coffee like casually every day. Like, that's what it is. So that's what the tenderloin is. But I know you know a lot about that, and you're talking about like possibly pitching a show or a movie. Was it show or movie?
a TV show. Yeah.
TV show. Yeah, that's what. This is how I work with. The motherfucker has books that he's writing and has written, and he's also pitching a TV show about the tenderloin. That'd be like if that wasn't a TV show, that'd be like the best video game in history, right?
Grand Theft Auto Tenderloin.
Yeah, like but like
It's the next
19,
GTA.
1928 or some shit, right?
No, it's 1906.
1906, even better. Like once the fucking
Okay, well,
once the earthquake happens.
yeah. So the term the tenderloin isn't a San Francisco term. It means a vice district. So, you know, there's a tenderloin in Chicago. There's a tenderloin in every city. New York. The Bowery was the tenderloin in New York, and it meant, so it seemed that that cops that worked in that neighborhood could make enough from graft, from bribery, that they could buy a nicer cut of steak. That's the idea.
So they're getting chucked. They're coming home
So,
with a tenderloin.
yeah, exactly. And whatever, to try to make this real brief, because historians just go on and on. But, you know, in the 19th century, there was this idea that areas of the city had to be segregated, where prostitution, gambling, and these kind of things, vice districts, had to exist so that it'd be sort of like a safety valve within a city. And so that's, and they existed with corruption with City Hall, with corruption from paying off the police, paying off the, local politicians. And so, that's how things went. San Francisco was a little bit different in that, like, all of San Francisco was a vice district when it first started out. That just was how it was. So there's been a long struggle over this concept of San Francisco being, what is it going to be? What's its identity? Is San Francisco the capital of the West? Is San Francisco, that really happened with LA, but that was really quite recent.
Yeah.
LA didn't really come into prominence until about the 1920s. Before that, San Francisco was the city in the West.
Yeah. I always tell my mom, and she's always telling me, like, the reason why they call it the city. Like, if you're from here, anywhere, you can be from Sacramento. Say, going to the city.
Absolutely.
Everybody says San Francisco. You
Yeah.
have to say San Francisco. You say, I'm going to the city.
It's like New York, yeah.
Because, like, it was the only fucking city for so long. Like, even LA now is a city, but it's not like San Francisco. It's spread out everywhere. Like, LA is just fucking huge. San Francisco is very small.
Yeah.
You can go from one side to the other in a fucking, 45 minutes if there's no
Everything's
traffic?
like 7x7 or
Yeah.
something, right?
And
7
also
miles
the-
by 7 miles or something like
The
that.
population hasn't really changed that much.
It can't change. It's not. I mean,
Yeah.
you can build these big ass buildings, but it's just not enough. It's very small.
It's always been under a million or around a million
Yeah.
for a really long time. But anyway, so this idea of the Tenderloin is goes back to like these old gold rush days of San Francisco. It's like, what is San Francisco? Is it going to be this sort of imperial city, or is it going to be this kind of wild old West city? I mean, the thing is, people always came out to San Francisco that were rejects, that were freaks, that didn't feel like they belonged, and that just has always been a thing.
Yeah.
So as more money has been coming in recently with this tech boom, I mean, fuck.
Now it's just rich rejects.
I mean, literally,
broke ones.
I don't see.
Yeah,
I used to
yeah.
see my friends all the time, and I don't anymore because they're all fucking gone. I have a place that I can live where I still live here, but that's,
Yeah, all the people, nobody can afford it anymore. Like, nobody that thrives off of like a creative nature can make it out here because it's just, you have to have ridiculous amounts of money.
Seriously.
But like going back to this idea, the Tenderloin is that the Tenderloin has been. They've tried to destroy the Tenderloin. There used to be an area called the Barbary Coast that was called the downtown Tenderloin. What we now call the Tenderloin is the uptown Tenderloin. The downtown Tenderloin, Barbary Coast, if you go there now, you don't recognize it. It's not Tenderloin at all.
What part of that is
It's in
now?
between like North Beach. It's like around Montgomery Street, Kearny Street.
Where all like the
Oh, so the
fancy
financial
shops are and
district.
stuff.
It's roughly the financial district. It's between North Beach and the financial district. That was one of the most infamous areas in America.
So like in between North Beach, Financial District, and Chinatown, almost, right?
Yeah.
That little.
and a lot of Chinatown, and that shit's gone. They eradicated it,
Damn.
but it moved here.
Yeah.
It moved to the Tenderloin. And so I understand that the Tenderloin's distressing because it is. I mean, it's rough, man. But I also have this, like, I think the Tenderloin's the only thing that could save the city.
Seriously.
Because if you get the Tenderloin Museum is a recent place that is a museum of the Tenderloin. But one of the things that they have like a T-shirt that is a Herb Caen quote. Herb Caen's an old writer for the Chronicle that died in the 90s. He was right. He was
Yeah, I
writing
remember
from the 50s to But he said a city without a Tenderloin is no city at all, and there's something to be said for that. It's like I don't know if you were to go to like Carmel, for example, which is
Isn't Clint Eastwood the mayor?
he
there?
used to be the mayor, and that was like a bohemian. I mean, the amount of people that went through Carmel from the 1800s through like the 1950s, 60s, 70s it's this incredibly like vibrant artistic community that had all sorts of weirdos, and it's this bohemian like beauty. But now it's just rich ass motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. And so is San Francisco going to really become that? It's like
The only thing that's stopping them is the Tenderloin.
exactly. It's like,
You
well,
can't
there's
really stop the Tenderloin. So
unless
far.
you kick everyone out. And I think that there's enough of this idea of San Francisco that, I mean, where the fuck? That's the thing is like when the Barbary Coast closed down, everyone, it's my book. It's called Alice Memoirs of a Barbary Coast Prostitute. And it's about all these prostitutes that are getting kicked out of the Barbary Coast. That's part of what the story is. It's a memoir from 1913. I didn't write it. It was just something that I discovered, me and my partner, Ivy Anderson. But their question was like, where do you go? Where do you go? Well, they spread about. And so now we're in this exact same fucking situation.
Yeah, they're just shuffling people around.
Yeah, and so
prevail.
and so we'll have this. There used to be a parking lot right back behind the Warfield, and that's where people were parking their cars. Now they're going to build this huge condos. Across the street from it is all SROs, and there used to be I can't remember. The bar on the corner. You weren't here during that. But
I heard about. Was it Lucky 13 or Frank's or some shit?
Frank's. So Frank was like the bartender for everyone that worked at the Warfield could go there, and he's the kind of guy where you just like he would just give you drinks and you would just give him whatever money. I mean, it was a real industry bar and it was a real neighborhood bar. Now, if you go by there, it's like people take Ubers or Lyfts to the door. They go in. There's no like interaction.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
Is that the one we have to like to get inside?
I've never gone in there because fuck that place. But
I went there
like
once because our old half manager who used to manage here, she knew the bartender who actually worked with us for a little bit. I'm not going to say anybody's names, but it's literally the place you have to go in there and go, and they let you in. And then close the door. There's no sign. There's no advertisement.
Yeah.
They don't sell beer. They don't sell shots. It's a cocktail. Like you have to come in there and order a cocktail. You couldn't ever like, dude, I just want a fucking beer and a Fernet. He's like, I can make you a Toronto that has Fernet. That type of shit is like, oh fuck. Like, why do you want to be there?
That catered to like some big techie condo, the one L7 or whatever that's like on 8th Street. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, whatever. Well, I was working at a Zukar lounge, and they had like a special cocktail for their condo. And if you came in and said you were like lived in that area, like you got this special cocktail.
Yeah.
It's just
That's what the city has become.
God,
right
they
there.
call us snowflakes. I swear to God.
That's what the city has become. All right, so
That's how the
we're going to get a
industry's
little
dying.
more fun here. I want to talk about the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
but to precursor on the Super Bowl, we had a story when we're doing pre-production. You once, because you're not a sports person,
No.
but you have a sports story for us. What did you do?
I won a punt, pass, and kick award for flag football.
So punt, pass, and kick is like a kid's type of thing. Obviously, punting the ball, passing the ball, kicking the ball, and she won.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was in a facility for children, troubled children. Basically.
A troubled children's facility.
Yep. That was my one sports accomplishment.
Sounds like the Warfield.
So yeah, exactly. We're a bunch of fucking wayward kids here.
Well, yeah. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. Like nobody's just running around winning punt, pass, and kicks. The coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a very racist ass name for
Andy
a team.
Reid?
Andy Reid. He also won the punt, pass, and kick
Really?
in like 1982. He was like 6'4".
He must have weighed a little less.
He weighed a lot. Like, there's a video on the internet. Look it up for yourselves. I'll show Devin after this is over. But he skies, and he looks like a grown man. And every other kid looks like they're like fucking 6.
Wow.
And he just throws the ball like 50 yards, and everybody's like, well, why are we even trying anymore?
Yeah. That's true.
Did you win every one?
Yeah, I had a little certificate for it. I mean, I've always been like really athletic. I just never really gave a fuck about sports.
Yeah. Like
Except-
the other day, we had a cleaning shift here, and we had to go on the mezzanine and move the bars. I couldn't move the bar. I also was sick and sapped of energy. We had old Michael, the bartender. Mm-hmm. He couldn't move the bar. And who else was up there? It was also Alex,
Ruben. You guys together couldn't move the bar.
Yeah, and she just went back there alone, just like ass was like. She just literally just like got her. She's like, hold on, let me get up in there, just like.
It's all legs, dude. It's from cycling everywhere.
And just move these big heavy ass full coolers that have been fused to the floor from yeast leakage.
Yep.
For years, like when we had to bring a dolly upstairs to pry it in there.
We're like thinking about leverage. And
and she's just like,
you just gotta get up in there. Well, there's a reason I'm the first female barback in how long?
Since I've been here, yeah.
No, there was a barback when I first started working here that just quit.
Yeah.
That was just like a super badass.
I always hear about her. But that was before I got
But
it.
yeah, actually,
that's like 3 years probably, right?
It's not for the delicate.
Yeah.
Nope. You gotta have some muscle.
Still can lift kegs though. So she got the leg strength, not the arm strength.
I can lift a keg a little bit.
You did not stack a keg alone.
I can take it off of the other keg, but I probably couldn't lift it up onto another keg.
She can't yet stack a keg on her own. But also Kyle couldn't either when he first started. It just takes a little muscle memory. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll get it.
All right, so Super Bowl. I watched it. It was a snore fest. Devin, you watched it. How'd you feel about that?
Well,
let's hear your thoughts.
I didn't feel like I should have watched it.
Can you pass me that high life around the corner from that right there? Right here where Freddy Krueger's laying on it.
Can't see it. Oh, I see it.
Oh, God. Ratatouille. Oh, man. R.I.P. to all the fucking animals over there.
It's a good time
They're
for
all
me to go to
dead
the
now.
bathroom because I don't have anything to say about the Super Bowl.
Sure. Anyway, yeah, I just.
Where are you going?
NFL is just.
You didn't even
disgusting to me
drink?
at the moment.
I know, I drank all of my
She quit drinking and she still has to pee like a racehorse.
But I did watch it. I don't know. I don't know why. I very much dislike the Patriots. I don't really have any feelings about the Rams. But I watched it because I was at home.
Because it's Super Bowl.
Yeah. I didn't go anywhere to watch it. But yes, I did watch it. I thought it was objectively, I thought it was a kind of interesting game.
Why so? Let's hear your thoughts on that. Because everybody else thought it was just horrible. Because, the way the game has been, it's all offense now.
I think I like defensive games.
I do as well, being a Seahawks fan.
I thought...
but I felt like it wasn't even defense. I felt like it was just poor offense.
Yeah, although I also think that Bill Belichick, as horrible of a human being as he is, just called a weirdly brilliant game.
Did you hear what the other team said about him?
No.
They said, because they supposed to have like the most genius, new, innovative coach, Sean McVay, and the players were saying, we have never seen anything that they did. Everything they did was brand new. Mm-hmm. We studied, because we're an NFL football team, studied, and nothing that we studied, they threw at us. They had a whole new everything that they brought.
It reminds me of so Wade Phillips is the defensive coordinator of the Rams, was the defensive coordinator with the Broncos when they beat Carolina.
Yeah.
And I think it's a similar thing where it's like Carolina didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think it was a similar thing where it's like the Rams, I mean, it's the worst offensive performance in the history, I believe.
I think it's tying the worst. But that's the worst, yeah.
Especially
and where the points have been now. Like, the record that they tied was from fucking 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Who was even at the Super Bowl?
You mean who played?
Yeah, who played?
The Patriots of New England and the Rams of Los Angeles.
Okay. And last year it was the Eagles and
the Patriots.
Okay. Who won this year?
The Patriots.
Oh, okay.
They usually always win, except they lost to the Giants twice and they lost to the Eagles last year.
Oh, okay.
But now Tom Brady has 6 Super Bowl rings.
Do you know the?
Oh,
Of course.
fingers.
I want to mention Vladimir Putin stealing
Oh,
Belichick's or
not Belichick,
Kraft's
Robert
ring.
Kraft's ring. Yeah,
Wait, what?
yeah. So Vladimir Putin,
it's so worth.
he wasn't here, right? I think did Kraft go there, or did he come here?
No, I believe it was a diplomatic meeting. No, it was in America.
Okay, it was here.
And so Kraft is friends with Trump and George W. Bush.
And probably every other rich person in the world.
Voldemort and a few other.
Yeah.
A few other folks. He has a couple friends. But yeah, he was at this thing because he's a fucking friend of all these assholes. And it was under W. And W was having these diplomatic issues with Putin, and Putin walked up, and it was right after they won, I believe, maybe the second Super Bowl. So this is like
something like
2000, whatever,
Yeah.
early 2000s. Putin fucking said, "Can I see this?" And he took it.
And never gave it back. Took his Super Bowl
He took
ring
the Super Bowl ring from
from
Kraft.
one of the richest men in America. It's like, yeah, it's mine now.
And
what are you going to do about it?
Just fucking punked him for
Yeah.
the ring.
and then he asked W about it, George W. Bush. He's like, Putin just took my ring. And then George W. Bush was like, things are a little delicate right now,
Yeah,
so
so
maybe
just-
let's not bring this up. Apparently the fucking ring is like it's on a little pillow. It's like a thing that you can see in Russia because he's like, fuck you.
I mean, that's how art has been, acquired throughout history. Why not?
Also, that's what
not
we've
get
been
Super
doing
Bowl
to every
rings,
other
too?
country for the longest. Hey,
Yeah.
you like that? It's ours now.
Like California
You'd strong arm
or
him.
all of the Americans.
Wouldn't want to take those people from you, would you?
Yeah. Going back to the Edwardian Ball and colonialism.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You took this.
All right, so now we're going to talk about video games. So I'm a video game player. I just found out right now, Vultron over here is also a little bit of a gamer.
I'm not, so I'm going to run and pee as well, but I will be back.
That's fine. All right, we're going to stick a pin in that.
But I could talk about old video
Oh, you're
games,
going to
'cause
talk
I'm
about
old.
yes. I got a question for you.
Old guy.
If he doesn't break his Pinot Grigio everywhere. You can move it. You can move it. There we go. All right, so to preface this one more time as Devon slides on now. I don't know how he's going to slide back in, though.
All right.
So video games. What are you playing right now?
Right now I'm playing BioShock 2 and BioShock Infinite, which is very much like the Edwardian Ball because it's all steampunk themed.
What are you playing this on?
I'm playing the Infinite one on a PS3
Okay.
at my dude's house. And then the other one I'm just playing at my house. Kind of on an Xbox, but it's like an Xbox 360 game. We got a PS4 too, okay? We got both of them.
We shun Xbox over here, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird game because it's very like, kind of like everything that he was saying that was wrong with the Edwardian Ball is kind
Yeah.
of what's wrong with this game. Like, it's like there's a lot of really racist shit in there, and I get that they're trying to like highlight that like, oh, this is how it was, but I'm like, there's certain parts of the game where I'm just like, holy shit.
So it's
I'm like, they're going there.
it's like Quentin Tarantino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see that interview where he like trying to talk all hood?
No, I don't think I want to.
Oh, it was bad.
Like his movies are okay, but I don't like that he has to say nigger.
Yeah, no.
He has to say nigger 55 times every movie.
Yeah, he really. Yeah, he had some like interview with B.
And Samuel L.
BET.
Jackson is like trying to say it's cool and shit.
Yeah, that's kind of
Like
weird.
if you have a period piece movie, then fine. But even modern movies, he's saying it. Every movie he's ever done, he said it like at least 30 times.
Yeah, he's got a lot of weird stuff. You notice also every movie that he's done, he's like had to record someone's feet really up close because he's got some weird foot fetish thing.
I have not noticed that. No.
Yeah.
I don't have that feet fetish, so I don't know anything about
Well,
that.
it's like at the end of the day, though, Quentin Tarantino is just a huge freaking ripoff of Jack Hill, anyways.
I don't even know who that is.
Jack Hill
Hold
is
on,
the one I told you about that
We don't.
found
What?
that discovered like Pam Grier,
Oh,
and he
we're
did a
talking
lot of
about
like.
Quentin Tarantino. If you have any thoughts on him, what'd you say?
I don't like him.
Are you familiar
There we
with like
go.
Jack Hill at all?
No.
He's basically
The
who,
black
like-
exploitation king guy.
Exactly. He,
Just
like-
just move that out. Yeah, just move that. There we go. We can always adjust. So what she was saying about she was talking about how did we get in
we were talking
the
about
movie. I mean, the game she's playing has a lot of like racist shit. And it's like, okay, I know you're trying to do that, but you don't have to, do that. And I was saying it's kind of like Quentin Tarantino, who no matter what the time of the movie is, he has to say nigger 30 times in the movie.
Well, it's also like he wants to prove that he's like a cool white guy.
That's what she was saying. Like he tried to sound all like he's talking.
Yeah,
all
did you ever hear that
hood and
BET
shit.
interview where he like straight up just changed the way he was talking? Like it's very bizarre. Like I suggest
So it's
watching
like the
it and
opposite
cringing.
of Kanye West.
Yeah, exactly.
Who used
He's
to
like
be the hood dude.
he's like
Now
the
he
white people's
talks-
Kanye West.
Now he talks like he's
Who was here.
a fucking Edwardian Ball attendee.
Who I worked here
How'd that go?
with Obama,
What?
right?
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, that's before you were here.
Yeah.
Obama had a fundraiser
With
Kanye,
Wow.
and we all had to be like
The
checked.
times have changed.
Fucking like Secret Service had snipers and shit.
Wait,
We
this
all
was
had to
at the
be-
Warfield?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. In the
So
morning.
Obama was here
Yeah,
and Kanye was.
yeah.
Did you make
And
any
Obama-
tip money that day?
Tsunami is a guy that used to work here.
Heard about him.
Yeah. Fucking grabbed Kanye and did a selfie. Apparently got in a lot of trouble. He's been
He
fired.
doesn't work here anymore.
And Obama made this joke of like, who would have thought? He's like, Kanye can't win the presidency. Like, who with a funny name from Chicago could be president? Anyway, that's all very ironic nowadays.
Yeah, it's extremely ironic.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors were here. Mark Zuckerberg.
Damn, you saying a lot of rich people now.
And-
There's nobody here. Now
And
we got
fucking
Olafur
Governor
Arnolds.
Brown. I mean, it was like if a bomb went off in this building, it would take out an enormous amount of everything. It was weird.
It's weird that at all venues that would be at the Warfield.
I was
Like I would
wondering how
imagine
the
like
fuck
Bill
they could secure
Graham or
it.
some shit. Like, but no, like they're like we're putting.
Seriously, how the
we're
fuck
putting
do you
on the
secure the
Warfield.
I know. I mean, look at this building. I can't believe they choose this old building to have this really, really fucking Obama.
They're just shuffling Obama in over somebody shooting up like right in front of the Warfield,
Yeah.
probably like
Yeah. Anyway,
going in through that back street exit. Like,
that was a very
what the
strange
fuck,
thing.
dude.
So yeah, on the video game tip, historically, since you're not playing anything right now, what is your favorite video game or video game memory? It could be like an arcade or something as a kid or anything, something you watched, something you saw, just a memory.
All right. So let me tell you why I don't like video games.
Okay, let's hear that then.
And this is like a childhood memory. I have like a fear of heights, and I also I learned to ride a bicycle way later than people, and like was scared to ride down hills. I was a preemie. I think I have issues with adrenaline. I get spooked really easily, and so like games where you're like doing this was always stressed me out. It wasn't relaxing, wasn't fun, and so I watched my friends play video games a fucking lot. Like I watched the entirety of Zelda played, and I enjoyed it. I always liked like reading fantasy books and stuff, so it's like yeah, I enjoyed watching my friends play
But being in
Zelda.
control of it was too stressful.
Yeah,
I get that about certain games. Probably why I don't like the first like shooting games and shit. Like it's just too much. There's too much going on. I'm like, I like slower games.
I was a huge D&D nerd, so like I love all the game building. I mean, I love the world building. I love going into another place. I always have. And so I like what is it? Red Dead Redemption
Yes.
2.
I just finished that.
I've been watching
play that.
like I've seen like footage of it just in the game world just seems incredible.
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
it's never stopping. Like they're like they're still finding shit on Grand Theft Auto 5, which is the same company that makes these games, Rockstar. They're still finding secrets in that game that came out in 2012.
Wait, I thought Red Dead Redemption was made by the same people that made like Fallout and
No.
Skyrim and shit.
No, that's Bethesda.
Oh yeah,
Red Dead
no,
Redemption is
this
Rockstar.
Like, this is like the Western GTA, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except
Yeah,
like
never mind.
GTA is like all about like just going causing havoc in the city.
Yeah.
You can't do that in Red Dead because you have like a good guy, bad guy meter. So it's like a hat. You have a white hat and a black hat. So you, depending on how good you do in the game, depends on how people treat you. So if you do favors for people, they'll find you in town and say, "Hey, man, I remember you saved my life that one time. Go in the store, whatever you want, it's on me. Put it on my tab." That type of shit.
In Fallout 4.
Yeah.
You if you do fucked up shit, steal from people, piss off somebody in the town, like they all turn on you.
Yeah, and they remember, and then same situation.
Okay, yeah,
But,
I really want to play that one.
Times 8,000.
Okay.
Because they have so much money, they can take 10 years to make a game like they just did.
Yeah.
Bethesda makes a game like every 2 years because they just can't afford to take that type of time off. Go ahead, Devin.
I was going to mention there are the two games I remember the best, because when I did play games when I was like a little kid, and this is, I'm 43, so it was Atari. It was the very beginning of video games. Of course, we went to the arcade. It's like you couldn't play good games at home, so you go to the arcade. And of course, going to the arcade's a whole thing because like you're a kid, and then you have to like get on the bus to get to the arcade. And of course, that's a whole adventure. And then you're at the arcade, and when you play. To me, I remember games like Spy Hunter, Roust, and this is all stuff you can like play on your phone, I guess now.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah, you probably, yeah.
But the two games I remember the most that I had at home, Atari games, I think are two of the most notorious games because they sucked.
Don't say E.T.
Yes.
Oh shit, you had E.T.
E.T. and Superman. They're the two. They were just.
Those are probably the most infamous games ever.
Yeah. As a kid, you're
now
trying to figure
why
out.
You don't play video games.
No, I mean, they're both brilliant like examples of absurdism. Like this idea of absurdism. There's like absurdist literature I'm really into is from the 1950s. After World War II, these writers that were just like seeing how fucking unbelievably fucked up the world was after World War II, after any sort of idea of like culture or morality just seemed completely useless. And they wrote these absurdist plays, absurdist novels. Samuel Beckett, Eugene Ionescu, people I really am fond of. People you can find at City Lights Books, if anyone's interested.
There we go. Shout out City Lights Books.
Which is
Where's that at?
It's in North Beach on Columbus Broadway. It's the great bookstore.
I've heard of it. I've probably seen it.
They published like all the beatniks. They published Allen Ginsberg's Howl, and one of the great institutions of San Francisco. But like playing these video games was literally that experience because they don't make any sense.
Yeah.
But as a kid, they're supposed to make sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it didn't. It was just fucking impossible to play and also just mindless.
Yeah.
So it's like you're, as a kid, you're trying to figure it out. I mean, E.T. literally didn't make any sense.
They made that game in 2 weeks, I think, because the movie was coming out and they were like, fuck, we need a video game. Come on, somebody was just like, they just put some shit together. Like, if I was like,
you're supposed to find these pieces.
It had nothing to do with the movie. It's nothing to do with anything.
You could never find the pieces, and you kept falling to the thing. So as a kid, you're just like working, your one joystick and one button thing to try to make it work. Superman 2 as well. As you just fly and you hit Krypton, then you have to walk for a long time, then you fly again. But I played that shit for fucking hours. So
hours, probably months. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know.
What was your first game, Dexter?
First game? I'd say my first memory in life was playing Super Mario Brothers around Christmas time because we had, remember a tree being in the living room? Old big floor model TV, wooden and shit with the speakers and the knobs and shit. Playing Super Mario in the dark at nighttime, and there being just endless amounts of saltwater taffy with the Christmas tree on it.
I remember you said that, actually.
Hate saltwater taffy. Hate it.
And break your teeth.
But I ate it because there was nothing else. And I'm a kid. I want the sugar, right? So I'm just sitting there all night long. That's fueling me to play fucking Super Mario. So that's probably the first video game I played. It wasn't my system. My first system was a Sega Genesis with Sonic the Hedgehog.
My first game was Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis.
That's a great first game to have. Man, you got some
a
pretty
good
fucking
game.
dope parents.
Yeah, it was some weird guy my mom was dating at the time.
Even better.
In some roach motel. Like it was a weird situation, but you know what? There was Mortal Kombat, so
That's
it was
all that
okay.
matters, yeah.
Yeah, that
Fuck
game
yeah.
and like Tomb Raider was like my first favorite game. Probably explains a lot.
Yeah, you're Laura Croft.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Dex? Do you find video games having relevance? Like, is it a thing that is escape, or do you find it a thing that actually...
I don't know about it. Well, I mean, it's an escape as far as I can just tap into this. Like, okay, you know what? Done with work, done with life. Let me just, go in here and do my shit real quick. Like it's Red Dead. Let me go ride my horse. I got some objectives. Let me go save this lady real quick. Let me go teach this motherfucker how to fish. That type of shit.
It is escapism, definitely. I think.
But wouldn't it be interesting if... I mean, you could really fucking change some shit if you had some political video games, though.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there are games that like have political messages. Like for instance, that game
a lot
I was
of them,
talking
yeah.
about earlier that I'm playing right now, BioShock Infinite. I think they had some kind of political message in that maybe just went a little far.
I mean, also, like, I don't...
Fallout. That's
I
pretty...
remember like being in like the early 90s when Mortal Kombat was happening, and then when GTA and like Congress was like, fuck this shit, stop it, people are going to kill each other. This kid it strangled somebody and it has to be because of video games. Like, I've never been that person. Like, I started out playing a lot of sports games. Like I was saying with my cousin over here, me and him would play fucking Madden or NBA Jam or whatever fuck all night long. And, we'd be like, you know what? About to make the league tomorrow. Like, it, and then going having a shooting game wasn't like, oh man, I'm about to go kill somebody. Like, it never had that. I play the game. After that, I'm done with the game. The game doesn't seep into me.
Yeah, there are
doesn't
some
turn
people-
me into another person. And maybe other people, but to me, that's it. Just entertainment. Just like a movie. Not watching Die Hard and being like, man, I'm gonna go fucking to LA. I'm gonna save a tower, No.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the people that like say video games inspired them to do some fucked up thing. They already had a blurred line of reality in the first place.
Yeah,
you know?
like fucking Ted Bundy blamed all his shit on porn.
Right.
Yeah, I think more so the
Everybody
whole
watches
like,
porn, but everybody's not going out killing people. And he wasn't even fucking these people. He was fucking up dead bodies like weeks later.
I didn't
It's not
actually watch
porn.
that yet.
But more what
I
I was
just
thinking
finished
of is just the idea that if like these open world games where you're interacting, just like social media and having avatars and all this stuff
Yeah.
is this is new territory. There's a whole new generation that's raised with these two different identities.
Yeah.
You're you, and then you're you
Who
online.
you are online.
and in some ways, like especially if you're like a queer person in like Azerbaijan or something, that shit's gonna save your life. And in other cases, it's like it can stunt people's ability to be. I don't know.
No,
it's-
definitely, yeah.
there's all sorts of questions, but it's interesting that video game developers have the capacity to really shape a whole generation by
Yeah.
what they do. And just like we're talking about, like, say, Quentin Tarantino. being
Just
able
like
to-
musicians.
it's interesting that I know, like, Gamergate was one of the things that brought the alt-right into
What was that about?
Gamergate. Gamergate was these...
Oh, people that play their video games on that streaming website, right?
I'm not sure
what the
what the
hell is it
specifics
called?
of that was,
I don't
but
think I've ever heard of it.
it was a bunch of like gamer like people on the internet. They're attacking like women and also people of color being video game creators that were creating what they called like social justice messages within games, and these are mostly like white, like teenage boys that were becoming politicized by this, and it became a thing, and it's literally what the alt-right is partially coming out of, and this is before Trump. And so it's just interesting how
Yeah, I remember they had there's the last Grand Theft Auto had a black guy in it, and I remember people being upset about it, and not even being like, "Why a black guy?" But it was like, "Why are you going to make us be a black guy?" You know, and they're trying to make it. They're trying to find whatever little avenue they could to be like. And it was like, well, every fucking video game character essentially has been a white man forever. You have like 4 or 5 white women, but like you finally have a black guy, and you're like, everybody's losing their fucking shit. And then Fallout 4, like you're talking about, you could be anything. You could be a woman, a man, any color. You could make your whole everything. People were kind of like, whoa, what the fuck? And then South Park, they really doubled down on their game because they was like, if you pick a black character or a female character, you also be gay or non-binary. You could be fucking all this shit, right? And the more random or rarer in society, I don't know what the fuck where I don't want to say anything that offend anybody, but the more, like, if you were black, the game was harder. If you were a woman in black, the game was twice as harder. So that's how you picture difficulty. And that they did that when they were showing like all the industry people, and then of course when the game came out, they were like, yeah, not quite. What really is, they're going to mention it in the game, and they're going to make fun of people who make fun of this shit. So, interesting. Yeah. So like as it was getting more and more, people were coming up in arms about having to be a black character in this game. I've been waiting for this game for fucking 4 years and hearing about it, and you're going to be a fucking black dude. What the fuck, right? And so South Park's like, all right, we're gonna put this shit out there right in the public, and then once the game comes out, everybody's thinking like, oh shit, if I'm gonna be a black woman, the game's 4 times harder or 16 times harder than. But they were like, nah, not really. We're just joking. But people are gonna mention that shit, and they're gonna fucking make fun of your stupid ass. So yeah, I mean, it's just another form of creativity and entertainment and all that good shit. All right, so we are getting a little long in the tooth here. We're gonna go to the news situations. We got some funny, wacky, sad. It's a lot of shit we're going through here. So number 1, first story. Don't look. Headline. Texas man died after vape pen explosion severed artery in his neck. I'm going to read a couple sentences of this. A Fort Worth man died last week after an electronic cigarette he was using exploded, cutting a major artery in his neck, according to the Tarrant County Medical Examiner. William Eric Brown, 24, died January 29th at John Peter Smith Hospital due to penetrating trauma from an exploding vaporizing pen, the medical examiner said. Noting shrapnel from the blast severed his left carotid artery.
You shouldn't be vaping inside.
What does inside have to do with anything? He could have been in the fucking car
That's
in
karma.
the woods.
That's what it is.
What?
That dude was probably vaping inside some mall, blowing it in somebody's face, exploded.
Jesus,
you know?
that's harsh.
I'm kidding.
My God. Everybody send all your bad karma to her. All your voodoo.
I have a little sympathy for
Brown's
society.
grandmother, Alice Brown, his grandmother, said he told her he was going out to buy some vaping products. He said, "I'll be right back, Granny." Brown was sitting in his car in front of a vape supply store in a 4500 block of Golden Triangle when his pen exploded, Alice Brown said. An employee at the store said Brown never entered the store and declined to comment. Of course he did. We didn't tell him that. He never came in.
Dang.
That's pretty fucked up, right? I mean, I've heard about phones exploding in your pocket, and I've even heard about the vape pen shit. Like,
I just heard about someone's earbuds exploding in their ear and killing somebody.
Thanks.
No, I really did. I saw some story on that.
I'll be a martyr.
There's also
Fine.
like decades of like the tobacco industry, like fucking silencing people about tobacco being bad for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Now he just
this is also just like
Just symbolic to what
Once
tobacco
again.
does to you in the long run.
But it's also, once again, this is just like vice and like people, I've always, like, for example, like San Francisco, shut down having,
menthol and flavored tobacco
flavored,
products.
yeah. Fuck that. I think that's bullshit. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
It's supposed to be geared towards the kids. But
Oh, the kids, they want the peach flavored Swisher. We got to stop it.
yeah, so
yeah, no.
the fact that this happened to this guy is a bummer, but It doesn't mean that
It's
you
a
should-
bummer, man. Speaking of the fucking the dude coming back, the Big Lebowski part 2.
Oh, yeah.
That's also what he said. It's a bummer, man.
It's also a bummer that that many famous people had commercials for that fucking Super Bowl.
That was ridiculous. All that money could have been spent to putting people in houses instead of being on the street. R.I.P. William Eric Brown, who died of a vaporizer. All right, next story. Rapper 21 Savage was detained by ICE.
I heard about that. Wasn't he deported?
They're talking about deportation. I'm guessing they have to go through some hearings and everything.
Where is he from?
Supposedly he's from the United Kingdom. Even though he said
Wait,
he's
they're-
from
they're
Atlanta for the
fucking-
last, 4 or 5 years. I don't know how long he's been out. Here's what the news article says. 21 Savage was arrested yesterday morning, February 3rd, by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement for allegedly being in the United States illegally. Though he's long been associated with Atlanta, the hip-hop hub that spurred his career and growth. ICE claims that the rapper, whose real name is Shaya bin Abraham Joseph, that's probably why they got him, is actually a UK citizen and has overstayed his visa for more than a decade.
This is just Trump trying to fucking cover his tracks.
Well, supposedly a few nights before that, he was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and had a song with a lot of political messages in it.
Oh,
So
retaliation.
He's made those record companies a little mad. And this is how they get back at him, possibly.
I believe that.
How do you feel about that, Devin?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I said. Before he came out and finally had a chance to admit that he was from the UK, everybody was like, oh, you know, they can get anybody. Because I guess they've had cases before where like people who are from here, they just swoop you up and the fuck you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, that isn't that like visa issues is why that one band that was supposed to open for Ministry didn't even play.
Carpenter Brute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Visa issues, exactly.
Yeah, you know that wall
Same
goes
with,
further around, you know, around all America.
I don't know. Did you see Roma, the film?
No.
God, it's up for a bunch of Academy Awards. It's an unbelievably beautiful film. It's a Mexican film.
It's starting to sound a little familiar. Go ahead, though.
The star of it is this indigenous woman who has never acted before. But one of her co-star has been refused a visa to come to the Academy Awards. Wow.
Well, if I was her, I would say the fuck away from here. Even though that sucks. But yeah, you don't.
I mean, this is this guy. I think that she is coming. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a guy.
This guy that
Okay.
is the co-star, at least.
That's horrible.
Isn't coming.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
But also it's like, I mean, how many fucking British actors are in Hollywood that aren't black? That
Well, we're going to talk about one very soon. He's not. Well, he's from Scotland, Ireland. Yeah.
Who?
Couple stories from here.
Oh,
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
Liam.
There you go. How'd you know? All right, next story. Come on, I'm not giving you any money, U.S. Today. All right. Hawaii lawmakers want to say goodbye to cigarettes forever. Hawaii is trying to raise the age requirement to 30 in 2020 to smoke
30?
cigarettes. 40 in 2021, 50 in 2022, and 100 by the year 2024.
It's like taking guns away from people. They're just going to become a fucking black
Yeah.
market for
I mean,
this
you know how
shit.
much cigarettes are going to cost in fucking Hawaii?
It's going to be like
Also-
prison, dude. Like, we're going to be out here fucking trading
Look at
favors
Prohibition,
for
man.
They're going to be packing
nicotine high.
cigarettes in their ass on the flights out there.
Like,
Yep.
we're sitting right now in a place where Prohibition was serving illegal booze.
Yeah, we are literally
Yep.
in the speakeasy.
Exactly.
In what, 19, what is it, 20, what was it, 20?
It was late teens until 1932.
Yeah, so 100 years ago, you couldn't get liquor in this country. But if you came to Warfield, if you knew somebody, if you went, come on in and get you a Fernet.
where we fucking pack kegs, and around this area, it's all storage. There's like all these amazing mosaics.
Fernet. Devin, do you have any historical thoughts on Fernet?
You mentioned something earlier.
Yeah, we're just mainly just I'm not sure, but Fernet, just like all distilled liquors, was originally medicine.
Yeah.
You know, and
But
eventually,
I think the story somehow, at least what I've heard, this may not be true. I've tried to look it up, but I can't remember anything anymore. So supposedly this slid under the radar during Prohibition, and you were still able to use it as a tonic.
I've even read some weird shit. I don't exactly know how this works, but that they had these dissolvable balls of concentrated wine that you could put into water that
Would turn it into wine.
Expand, and yeah.
Damn, Jesus.
These are historical, like, no one's seen them anyway, but people talked about. But interestingly though, like, I've also heard this story. I'm not sure if it's true, apocryphal story, but Al Capone apparently tried to have offices at the Warfield to try to.
Like you say, he was trying to do something with Fernet.
Well, no, he was trying to muscle in. I mean, you know, Al Capone, organized crime during Prohibition, their whole thing was booze.
Yeah, moonshine.
And he didn't. He didn't succeed because
Bootleggers.
San Francisco has never been a Prohibition city. It's always been a Catholic city. It's always been like San Francisco is the most booze-friendly city. The mayor before that, this guy, Rolf. I'm trying to think of who was mayor during Prohibition. There's different mayors, but
Here?
yeah, in San Francisco. But he was like a bon vivant. He was from the Mission. He would drive around with famous madams from brothels next to him. Like, San Francisco just never could be controlled by organized crime in that way with booze because San Francisco never really had to deal with that kind of prohibition.
Have you ever read the book You Can't Win before?
Yes, the book I'm working on right now is the unpublished book of Jack Black, who wrote that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's amazing. But I just remember that there's like a portion of You Can't Win where he talks about these like old, not necessarily wine bars, but places where like winos would go drink wine all day, sleep on the floor, wake up, drink more wine. Some of them would die. Like, what was that within the Tenderloin?
No, that was
or-
the Barbary Coast.
Okay, I figured when you were talking about that, I was wondering.
No, when he's talking about that, that's like the 1890s.
Okay, so that's like way prior
Yeah.
to that point. Okay.
But he was around. He wrote that in 1926.
Yeah,
He wrote You
because
Can't Win.
I thought it was in the 20s or so, because it was when he was like working at the library.
San Francisco Bulletin.
Yeah, there we go. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's my. I am working right now on. He has a memoir that his lost book. I'm publishing that right now.
Wow, that's really cool. Because
Funny, I can't believe that you just mentioned that.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Because like, well, there was a lot that you were saying that kind of like reminded me of that book in a sense. Basically, Dexter, it's like this book about a really famous hobo. He's a lot more.
Oh
than
yeah, he's
that,
always
but-
he's always talking about
Jack Black.
Oh yeah,
and like how they were like write some shit over here, like some graffiti type shit.
it's called
like,
monikers.
Yeah. Hey,
it's what
Hobo
Mark-
Jim was here, and this is where I'm going, and this is what I was doing, and
it's
I'm going
still
with
something that lives on
going
within
with
like
Bum
Called
Leg Johnny.
Yeggs.
yeah, Yeggs, yeah, exactly. Like in
Yeg
Chinatown,
culture.
because that's where it originated, right? In Chinatown, they would call them Yeggs. I'm trying to remember exactly what they had said in the book about that part.
That's hella interesting though. It was like their social media.
I suggest that book. Like, it's really interesting, and it's an easy read. There's also by A.K. Press that I really like, Bad, the autobiography of
Michael Jackson.
Jimmy Carr, or is it James Carr or Jimmy Carr? James Carr. He was like George Jackson's right hand man.
I don't even know who that is.
George Jackson was he was a big in the Black Panther movement within the prison industry.
Oh, okay.
He basically was,
Yeah, famous memoir.
yeah, like
Badass memoir.
it's really interesting. Yeah, he was a crazy dude. Did a lot of good things and made it. He was, what did he go to jail for? He got arrested for like some petty larceny or something, and he spent 10 years in prison for some really petty larceny. Mostly because he was such like an influential member of the Black Panthers,
Yeah,
and
Black Panther.
so they just wanted to keep him incarcerated and quiet. But it kind of turned against him because he was like a big part of like the prison revolutionary movement, I guess.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, so I have to pee hella bad, so we're gonna zoom through this last one right here. We just kind of talked about this guy, Liam Neeson. So, famous actor. He has gotten into some shit over the last couple of days because he had an interview, and he said after a friend was raped, he wanted to kill a black man. That's not his exact quote, but
His exact quote was worse.
yeah. Here's some quotes from him. She handled the situation of the rape in the most extraordinary way, he said. But my immediate reaction was, I asked, did she know who it was? No. What color were they? She said it was a black person. Neeson continued, I went up and down areas with Akash, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black bastard would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, so that I could kill him.
Wow.
Yeah. And he declined to name the victim and withholds details to protect their anonymity. It took me a week, maybe a week and a half to go through that, he continues. She would say, where are you going? And I would say, I'm just going out for a walk. What's wrong? No, it's nothing. The interviewer gives every indication that Neeson is conscious of the gravity of what he is saying. She quotes him as saying, it was horrible when I think back that I did that. And I've never admitted that, and I'm saying it to a journalist. God forbid. His breath reportedly trembles as he continues. It's awful, but I did learn a lesson from it when I eventually thought, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, that was just bizarre. Now, I remember him from a couple years ago. He was in an interview for, what is it, Taken is his movies that he's always in, Taken. And obviously, I guess he
Which
likes
I think are really racist movies.
I've never seen them. I don't really watch a lot of movies.
They're
but
super racist.
it wouldn't surprise me. So in this interview, they're asking him some shit. I guess he likes to talk about random things. So they're asking him about actresses' pay compared to actors, women in the same industry as men making a lot less. And he said it was horrible and it was awful, and something's got to be done about that. Like he's talking about a lot of great actresses and they're not getting their fair due. Right? This is almost word for word. So the interviewer goes, "Oh, so are you willing to take a pay cut?" And he goes, "No." That's no. No. Like he's no. Because like this other I watched Dan Le Batard show and they're always quoting that whenever somebody's like saying no, they just hit the little sound, go, no, right? And so after that he says, no. He said, yeah, that's ridiculous. No, that's ridiculous. He's like, some things we done, but no.
But not
Now
not
you're
my
being
money.
preposterous. How dare you, right? I'm not giving my money up. Somebody needs to give him the money, not me. And so now he's talking about he wants to. What the fuck is a kosh?
I imagine a kosh is some sort of
Knife?
Well, some fucking British slang. It
There's
might
some
be a
weird
knife, although knives are fucking illegal, so maybe. It also might be some sort of like billy stick or some shit.
So I was thinking like either like a fucking something you beat the shit out of somebody with, or like a knife.
Yeah.
And he wants to go around trying to find a black bastard because
And
some woman said she was raped by a black
and he says
man.
this in an interview. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's
He says,
fucking.
yeah, here, take it.
And
Take
he
this.
says, "I'm not racist. I was going through."
I'm not racist, but
But yeah. No.
But I think
crazy.
I don't know.
had that reaction a lot when I had the break-in at my house. A lot of people from back home at Reno were like, "Oh, it's because you live in Oakland. Like, you need to get
You're
a gun."
like,
I'm like, no, yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, I'm like, it can happen anywhere, bro.
I think it's really illustrative, actually. Like, the fact that you don't think you're racist doesn't fucking mean that you're not part of racism, And I think that him saying he's not racist is fucking ridiculous. No. I mean, the fact that I'm like, I don't consider myself racist, but I'm part of racist shit all the time just because I'm a fucking white dude that has privilege. You know, it's like you just have to have a fucking certain understanding. This guy does not.
He doesn't have it at all.
And his okay,
He was
just
talking about, well, you know, I come from the troubles and I'm from all this, it's like he's trying to make it seem like I'm cool. Don't worry about it.
Is he a Trump supporter? I feel like probably.
no. I think he's a liberal. But okay, so taking this movie.
Sure.
The plot of it, just quickly, is that he's an ex-CIA agent whose daughter is taken, and he has to go find her, and he's having problems with his wife. I only know this because this movie pissed me off so much. It used to be a film projectionist, so I projected it. And he saves her, and he also gets his daughter an audition or something, or meeting with this big pop star. It literally seemed like a fucking like fever dream of a guy that's going through a divorce with his fucking kid. You know, it's like, and then he's the good guy, and then he saves the daughter from that bitch mom and her like rich husband. Literally, it was like watching the fucking fever dream of some guy that's pissed off over a divorce. That's what the film is. He's done 3 of these, and he has no problem with it. Every film he is in, he plays a vigilante that's going after people.
Yeah, they're saying in Cold Pursuit, Neeson plays a snowplow driver named Citizen of the Year by his hometown who goes on a bloodthirsty spree after his son is killed by drug dealers.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous.
So
I know he was in
he's in Star Wars.
in the Batman movie. Oh, wasn't he Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No, he was his mentor.
What was he in the Batman movies?
What's Obi-Wan Kenobi's fucking
Ewan McGregor.
yeah, whatever the fuck his name was. Yeah, in the Bat movies, in the
He wasn't in Batman.
the Batman Begins, and then the Batman Begins. He was he was the guy who wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Well, who the fuck else was it?
The guy who what?
In my mind, it looks just like him if it wasn't him. Whatever the case.
Gary
Liam
Oldman?
Neeson, fuck off. I don't even know what the fuck
Yeah.
Gary Oldman looks like.
Yeah. They're the same guy. They're both conservatives too, so fuck both of them.
All right, so in the last story, this is hilarious and kind of sad.
Okay.
Y'all ready for this? Man who has never cleaned his penis. 24-year-old who claims to have slept with 40 women tells TV doctors investigating his foul smell he didn't know he was supposed to wash it.
The fuck is this motherfucker from? Like,
He's American, that's for sure. The man known only as Zach claims to have slept with over 40 lasses. Visited the sex clinic, feeling his penis failed him when he could not finish. Examination revealed a serious case of smegma, buildup of cells and oil. A 24-year-old bartender, isn't that ironic, has admitted to never cleaning his penis. The man known only as Zach claims
this
to
guy's like a walking yeast infection.
have girls throwing themselves at him and has bedded over 40 lasses. Despite having sex for years, Zach visited Dr. Naomi Sutton on E4's hit show, The Sex Clinic. This is also a reality show. After feeling his penis had failed him when he became unable to finish due to his foreskin being too tight. He even thought his penis may still be growing, with his foreskin being unable to keep up. But an examination by Dr. Naomi revealed Zach had a serious case of smegma, buildup of dead skin, oil, and moisture, which was making his foreskin too sensitive to pull back. Zach, who was also admitted to having a host of STIs, told the medic he was unaware he was meant to clean down below. Uh-oh, the video's popping up. I don't want to hear or see that. Zach visited the clinic complaining of having a nasty smell, as well as pain and irritation at the tip of his penis for the past 6 to 9 months. He first met with Nurse Sarah, who he told after intercourse he asked to untuck his foreskin behind his shaft. Although sometimes easy, Zach admitted he would spend days trying to position his foreskin back into place. When he questioned whether his penis was enlarging, Sarah said, "I think you stopped growing now, babe."
It sounds like we found patient 0.
What does that mean?
The original clap.
I mean, he's only 24 and he's a bartender.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he's a black guy with an afro. In case any women out there, they didn't say where he's from, but his name is Zach. Stay
You
the
could
fuck
smell
a-
this guy coming.
For real,
like-
stay the fuck away from him. How the fuck you don't know how to clean your dick? Not know how to, but didn't know you're supposed to. I had read something earlier say he thought he was supposed to wash the shaft and the balls.
This is what happens when you don't
Not the
sign
tip.
off for your child to go to sex ed, people.
That's pretty fucking bad.
Man.
So yeah, Zach has infected more people than yeah.
This is what happens when you let the church tell you that you can't
He is the outbreak
teach your
monkey.
kids about this shit.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, if you look at the history of sexuality with women, I mean, idea of like having any sort of idea about sexuality with women was just so taboo that people, I mean, especially women, didn't know how their shit worked,
Yeah.
you know, until like the early 20th century,
Yeah.
if that. And so this is an example of like,
Yeah, King of the Hill, the shitty cartoon really hit on that topic.
I
of, like,
mean,
sexual
what
oppression.
if he? I don't know. I don't want to. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't know where to start with that. Or end
that's
with
rough.
How do you not know how to clean?
that's the last one.
This is it.
You're gonna leave us with that.
I'm leaving you
And
with this.
that, wash your dicks, children.
Please wash
Please.
everything. That's the whole point. Everything. You don't just be like, I'm gonna wash my nose, not my mouth. I ain't brushing my teeth. No, blow your nose, brush your teeth, clean in your ears, wash the gunk out of your eye, wash your hair,
That's true.
and then wash your dick. Right?
Wash
Yeah.
your dick.
Something
I think
smells,
that's a fine
sign. Go
ending
see
message.
your doctor.
Yeah, the smell, the buildup, the sensitivity, the pain, something should have tipped him off 6 to 9 months sooner than he went to
Should've
the
tipped him
clinic.
off.
I don't know, dude. I've worked with some smelly ass people
Bang.
where you have to wonder, you're like, do you bathe?
Oh, they might not, but I mean,
But like in another thing, like some people don't have the option to bathe, so. where do you
Zach
come-
said he cleans the shaft of his
fucking
penis
shit.
and his testicles, but worries beneath the foreskin is too sensitive for him to scrub with a flannel and some soap.
A flannel. Dang it.
It's also in a single
flannel?
quotation.
He's just washing himself.
He is
with his
determined to
sweater?
practice better genital hygiene going forward. Well, we're ending on a positive. There we go.
All right.
Zach's possibly learned how to clean his dick
He's
now.
moving on.
He's
Zach's gonna
24
clean his
and he's had sex with 40 lasses, and he's just now learned to clean the thing.
Did you have sex with 40 lasses by 24?
Hell nah.
Hell no. Wow.
If I did, then I definitely. I mean, I wouldn't have this
You
problem.
must be a charming motherfucker.
He said they were throwing themselves at him. He's a bartender. He's
There's
24
also-
and his name's
This
Zach.
is a quote.
Yes, a quote. And it's also a reality show.
Sounds
Well,
like-
you clicked
sounds like
it.
bullshit.
We clicked it. We're talking about
I
it.
thought it was interesting.
Yeah. What is smegma? That's on the computer right there.
What is smegma? Smegma is a cheesy looking substance that can build up in a man if a man does not wash his penis every day. It is a natural lubricant that keeps the penis moist and is found on the head of the member as well as beneath the foreskin. It allows, if allowed to build up, smegma can smell, prevent easy foreskin movement, become a breeding ground for bacteria, and it can also lead to redness and inflammation of the head of the penis known as balanitis.
Balanitis. Sounds like a good name for a band.
There you go. If we want to start, hey, we got 4 people here.
Yeah.
All right,
we got.
I can play the bass.
Balanitis.
Who's drums?
There's great acoustics in that
There's a
room with all
drum.
the
There's a
ducks.
drum machine in there.
I can play spoons.
Spoons. All we need. What is that? Is that a honey bun?
No, we're asking you where you're gonna play, man. You
said
got
it
a honey
wrong.
bun.
He's
What are you
playing a
gonna
honey
play,
bun.
man?
Well, you see, he's playing the
Give me a
rapper.
honey bun.
He's
I think I got him
You
contact
did.
high.
He should be at high. He smokes a lot of weed.
Did you guys ever talk
full
about
of
the
shit.
burner cookie show? Speaking of being contact high,
We did, yeah.
holy fuck!
I can't remember which episode.
I had
that
to
was.
drive to Reno immediately after that, and I smoke a lot of weed, and I didn't smoke any weed that night, and I was higher than I think I'd been in.
Do you remember how high I
a long
was?
time. Yeah, you weren't making any goddamn sense. I was like, Dexter, we need water. Oh, fucking water. Like I'm like, what?
I was lit, and I've worked that show 3 times. but I was way higher because I don't smoke that much anymore.
Some motherfucker came up to the bar like right when we first started with like a baseball-sized blunt. I was just like, you need a fucking blowtorch to light that
Now,
thing.
see, back in the old days, they could have smoked that shit like it wasn't no problem. Now they're like, hey, don't let anybody smoke weed at your
The
bar.
fire
Don't serve
alarms
him.
were going off the whole
It's like,
show.
dude, don't serve him. Everybody here has weed.
That was
It's like, okay, don't
under the
serve
old
anybody.
regime,
Got
though,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Wonder, can you imagine now?
We got some blunts, or not blunts, but we got little pre-rolls in our tip jar that night. And we made hella money that night. I think me and
We haven't made
Marcia
hella money
walked with like
consistently
200
all the
each.
time.
It's a relative term now.
Okay, hella money for here.
It's like $73. It used to be like $195.
$200.
Yeah.
No, that night I think we made like $200 each. It was pretty good.
Where were you at?
The kitchen bar.
Exactly. We probably made 160. Probably had 4 bar bags too. Probably made like 135.
Yeah.
R.I.P. the good days.
Right.
All right, we're out of here. Industry special, like I said, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, industry special podcast at Gmail,
Patreon.
patreon.com/. Well, hopefully she's going to go on there and give us at least $1 since she's talking that shit.
Shit, I give this place my blood, sweat, and tears. That's all you get.
$1? I've given you
I'm kidding.
a job.
I'll give you $1.
Patreon.com/industry special. Literally, you can give me $1. That's all I need. I don't give a fuck. I don't even need the money. I just want the fucking. Just give me the fucking.
The love.
The analytics. I want it to
Give
look
them the
like.
clout.
If everybody gives $1, I'll be on Spotify in no time, motherfuckers. All right, so thanks to Devon here,
Cheerio.
barback, author, musician, historian, cat dad, all of the above. Veronica, a.k.a. Vultron, bartender, barback. Anything else? What else are you?
Strong woman. I don't
Yeah.
fucking know.
Fucking cooler mover, professional. Yes, all that good shit. That's it. Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Cheerio, mate.